Tricolor Turf War is a fun mode. It really is. It definitely has a few problems in terms of balancing, but looking at the mode by itself, for the most part, it's a really good time. However, just taking a few small steps back, it's not hard for one to notice just how much missed potential there really is. Especially considering, as of the end of 2022, it's still the only new multiplayer mode Splatoon 3 has to offer, and is only playable for one day every 2 months. In this video, I wanted to discuss some ideas I had to improve the mode, along with Splatfest in general. The rather odd choice of it being a 2v4v2 other than a 3v3v3 has been talked about pretty widely, but let's talk about the strangest decision here in my opinion, the Ultra Signal. Now, don't get me wrong, I love the concept, but let me explain my issue with it. When you hear that Splatoon 3 will be adding a triple-sided turf war mode, I think most, if not everyone, would simply imagine a chaotic turf war match with 3 teams instead of 2. Not an entirely different objective-based mode with 2 smaller teams attacking 1 large team. Like, I like it, but why is this the only Tricolor mode we get? Basically, my problem with the Ultra Signal objective is not that it exists, but that it and Tricolor Battle should have been their own separate things. But we'll get to how I'd handle that later. First, I want to talk about what needs to change about Tricolor Turf War itself. For those who don't know, Splatoon 2 Splatfests had these special stages called Shifty Stations. On top of the normal 2-map rotation, a third completely unique stage was added for the entirety of the fest, and each Splatfest had their own unique one to play. These were absolutely so fun, as most relied on a specific extreme gimmick, and you were always hyped to see what the next one would be like. I still to this day have so many countless memories in these stages, as they made each and every Splatfest feel unique and stand out from one another. I still distinctly remember Splatoweens with all these grind rails, Salsa vs Guacs with the Gushers and all the friends I met during then, Unicorns vs Narwhals with a pseudo Mahi Mahi Resort, where I've heard that before, and I could go on and on and on. It's nice that they added them to private battles at the end of the game's lifespan, but it's still heartbreaking knowing I'll probably never truly experience them again. So right off the bat, Tricolor doesn't even come close to filling the shoes of Shifty Station. Leaving Splatfest and Splatoon 3 honestly feeling pretty empty, especially considering you can't even play Tricolor until the second day. It's just normal turf war until then. So what can we do? I think the most obvious thing is to just give it its own unique stages designed around the mode itself, but that doesn't necessarily fix the problem of Splatfest feeling stale on the first day. No. I think Tricolor needs to be prominent and the main focus of the entire Splatfest, always being a part of the main rotation. Instead of queuing, and still never playing, for Sturgeon or Hammerhead Tricolor, the main rotation on day 1 should be your 2 standard stages, then what I want to dub Triad Stadium, the spiritual successor to Shifty Station, where normal, objectiveless Tricolor battles would take place. Just normal 3v3v3 or even 2v2v2 turf war. This triangular shaped stage would have a sort of gladiator / Mad Max theming to it and change up every Splatfest as well, giving new and exciting gimmicks every time. Just this inclusion by itself, I think could make Splatfests even better than Splatoon 2, now having a beefed up equivalent to Shifty Station with a Tricolor gimmick. I could just call it a day here, but hold on, we need to discuss how the second half should be handled now. I think having a halftime that changes up the status quo of the Splatfest is genius. On paper, it makes the second day even more exciting and gives you more reason to play. So now, how do we handle this now that Tricolor is just part of the day 1 rotation? Remember how I said the Ultra Signal should be its own separate thing from Tricolor? Well, here we go. As the halftime report kicks on, a new second rotation will open up in the queue, instead of just a Tricolor one that you have a 10% chance to play. Ultra Signal Capture. I 100% believe that Ultra Signal should have been something playable in a normal 2-team environment on every map. Just like the standard turf war rotation, this one would also contain 2 standard stages, but now with the classic 2v4v2 Tricolor, completely unchanged from how it currently is. This would almost completely fix the current issue of not always being able to play the Tricolor Ultra Signal mode, despite queuing for it, as the normal stages would also have it as the objective now. Just thinking of the utter chaos of getting used to having 2 teams in the mode, then suddenly being thrown into a classic Tricolor 2v4v2 just sounds so fun, as opposed to being frustrated of just playing Turf War over and over again trying to queue for it. And of course, if you still just want to play normal Turf War in Triad Stadium, the rotation's right there to play anytime. On a different note outside of Splatfests, this also makes me think. Now that we have 3 separate Anarchy rotations you have the choice to play in the game, it feels especially weird still only having 1 for regular battles. Like, good luck if you want to wind down and play Turf War, but when you look at the rotation, it's just A second casual mode has been something I've seen talked about for quite a while, so why can't Ultra Signal Capture be its own permanent rotation as a slightly more competitive alternative to Turf War, for those not in the mood for anarchy battles? I can totally see the argument that it would make it feel less special in Splatfests, but that's what Triad Stadium and classic 2v4v2 Tricolor battles would be for. I think players would only appreciate having more options to play, as Splatoon 3 desperately needs a new mode that isn't an event exclusive. It just boggles my mind that such a fun take on Turf War is only exclusive in a rare, what should be completely separate mode during Splatfests. So yeah, that's about it. What I propose is like 99% never going to happen, as Nintendo probably doesn't want to drastically change the way Splatfests work. I'm at least glad I can say though that Tricolor has been tweaked, so that the attackers and defenders are now independent from which team's winning at halftime, hopefully making the mode a lot more common and varied. But sadly, I still just don't see it fixing my main problems with Splatfests in Splatoon 3, being that they no longer feel unique and special, after seeing what could have been in the last game. Like, assuming you only care about grinding to ruler, what's the point of doing it on the first day when it's just normal Turf War, as opposed to the second day, which is the exact same thing, but now with a selling point mode? At this point, I would just even settle with bringing back the old Shifty Stations, even if it would still just squander Tricolor's potential. I would love to hear what you guys have to say. Please feel free to just comment down below your thoughts on the matter, and
subscribe to my channel,
as it would be greatly helpful. Real quick, I just wanted to express my thanks on how much exposure my channel has received. Obviously, it's relatively nothing too special, but considering they were my first 2 videos on this massive platform, I would have never imagined how far they were able to reach. Just thank you all. It's a pleasure being able to make content on my passions and knowing even just a few people will resonate with it. I guess I'll see you next time.